Fox Sports.
On one hand, the Royals are glad July is over. A brutal month after winning records in May and June. On the other hand, the Royals hope the last day of July rolls into August after scoring 8 runs on 14 hits against Cleveland last night. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. Royals baseball comes to you from Kansas City, where the Royals brushed aside a disappointing road trip last night, taking Game 1 from the Cleveland Indians 8-3. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. 8 runs, 14 hits. So there were several Royals who performed well at the plate last night. But let's begin with Alex Gordon, who had a very strong month of July and a very strong month of June.
You need pitching, but you got to have offense. And for a while there, we thought Billy Butler was the only hitting machine. Gordon showed up last night. And not only is he leading the league in doubles, but he's starting to pull the ball and hit a few balls pretty deep, like the way he's playing. Also, Gerard Dyson, he's taking this opportunity and running with it. He knows that he may not have a lot of playing time left, especially if Frenchie gets back out there in Canaan Center. So he's making the most of it, finding the holes, using his speed, and attacking. He's had a good game last night.
8 runs, 14 hits. Sounds good to Luis Mendoza. He has not received much run support lately. Back to the ballpark right after this. Royals baseball is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealers, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. It's social media night at the ballpark. Joel will cover that when we come back.
out just upstairs from Rivals on the Budweiser patio for social media night, answering a lot of interactive questions. Joel Goldberg back here in Rivals at the K. It is social media night, and there are a lot of ways for you at home to get involved. You can tweet us questions throughout the night at FS Kansas City, hashtag social media night, or go right on to foxsportskansascity.com and click on Game Connect. It is a second screen experience. It is free, an unbelievable amount of stats, interactive, social buzz, and much more, so we encourage you to do that. And oh yes, there is baseball coming up. Royals and Indians next on Fox Sports Kansas City.
Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. And with that, we are ready to go. Shin-Soo Choo, who struck out 4 times last night, also reached with a walk, is in the box. And he's swinging at the first pitch and lines it into left field for a game-opening single. So that's one way for him to forget about the 4 strikeouts.
And absolutely looking for that first ball, and he got it. That'll keep him away from that K.
Well, Luis Mendoza has one luxury, if that's what you want to call it, compared to Luke Hochevar. He will see at least one right-handed batter, and that's Jose Lopez. Last night, Luke Hochevar saw 9 either lefties or switch hitters, and now the Kia report on Mendoza.
All right, show him some support, a little bit of love. He's only gotten 3.1 runs of support as a starter. He's won his last start here at home. Welcome home, and he struggled 3rd time through the order, and he'd like to change that. So about 3rd time through is a charm. So we're hoping for Luis, although he will tell you the first 2 times through the order will determine if he'll even get to that 3rd time. So he'd like to keep his ball down. That's what he didn't do in his last start against Seattle.
And now Cabrera goes the other way, but right into Gordon's glove. 1 on, 1 out. The Royals defensively presented by Ford.
Okay, you see Lorenzo Cain in right field now, and you know there's some production in that spot because he's been in it and doing a great job. He's got a .320 batting average of runners in scoring position. That's one of the reasons why they're keeping him in the lineup and in right field for the struggling Francoeur. Dyson's in center field, got good range. You see Cain blocking that sun early in the game. If a line shot's hit at him right there, it could be difficult for him.
So easy on the legs, but tough on the eyes, at least for an inning or so.
And, you know, he's getting used to different angles in right field. Balls that right-handers hit and left-handers hit all hooked towards the foul line. So he's learning different angles in right.
And the Indians coming out swinging. Chu swinging at the first pitch, Cabrera at the second, and now Kipnis going after the first pitch.
It'll only be like one inning where you'll have to battle that sun. But that's what you do. Put your hand out there, your glove, whatever you can see on contact, and then pick it up.
Now no balls, 2 strikes.
Now Mendoza does have a good 4-seam fastball that we just saw there. He'll throw that up in the zone to go along with his sinker. Okay, his sinker is a pitch that he needs to throw down. He'll throw that about 92. His 4-seamer will be 94 up top, but he also has that nice little 4-seam cutter he's using. He'll use that in on lefties. Sinkers away, sliders and change.
And there's the sinker away. 1-2 on Kipnis.
It's more of a big curveball he uses along with his changeup. Dave Iden likes to say those 2 pitches, the curve and the change, slow the bats down. Kipnis is a pretty good hitter against KC this year.
And he has some power. I remember the series when the Indians were here in April. I remember Kipnis hit a home run to the opposite field. He hit one to left center, and it was a cool night with the wind blowing, but he was able to cut it through the wind. And Kipnis has 11 home runs in his first full season in the big leagues.
Yeah, .353 average against the Royals this year. 12 for 34, couple homers, 7 ribbies.
And a curveball got him looking.
Shouldn't be any complaints from Kipnis on that one. If he swings at that, he's got a chance to hit a long ball or in a gap. That's a hanging curve. And that's what he's saying to himself. Oh, I missed it.
And now Michael Brantley, who had a 2-hit game last night, he has really swung the bat well lately. He had a 22-game hitting streak in the month of June, which added 29 points to his batting average, and now at .291. And with the way he is swinging it, he will bat 4th. The Indians are without Travis Hafner. He is away on paternity leave, on his way back to Cleveland. His wife expecting their 2nd child, so Royals won't have to worry about Travis Hafner tonight.
Boy, and that's a breath of fresh air. You never know with that guy. He gets a hold of one, he can turn the game around. So it's a good miss for the Royals.
Indians have had their problems in the second half. They are 6-12 since the All-Star break. And if you're trying to find a primary culprit, there really isn't one. Their earned run average is last in the American League, and their team batting average is 2nd from the bottom, batting just .228. And they came out swinging last night. They scored 3 runs in the first 3 innings against Luke Hochevar, but Luke buckled down. So did the Royals bullpen, and the Indians didn't score after the 3rd, finishing with 3 runs on 8 hits. That's 2 years in a row now. Manny Acta's team has gotten off to a good start. The Indians spent 40 days in the first half in first place, and they spent 46 days in second place. Good pitch in on the hands, and gets us out into shallow right center field, and that's the inning. So Mendoza works around the leadoff single. No score. of June and July hit .346. Only 2 other hitters in the American League had higher averages over those 2 months, and Alex Gordon, rookie sensation Mike Trout with the Angels, and Joe Mauer. Here's the Royals lineup tonight. It's the exact same lineup as last night. Why not? 7 of the 9 starters had hits. Alex Gordon and Gerard Dyson each had 3 hits. Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo Cain, and Chris Getz all had 2 hits. And tonight, for the first time, they'll take a look at right-hander Zach McAllister.
All right, Zach McAllister, another big 6'6", 230-pound young pitcher, sinker baller, 87 and 92. He might throw some 94 with a 4-seam fastball. He'll throw a slider, a little cutter, and a changeup. He's down in the zone. He's a ground ball pitcher. He's going to try to get these guys to hit it at his defense.
Strike on Alex, 3 out of 4 last night, 2 more doubles, adding to his league lead, 36. Also walked, leads the Royals in walks and hits.
Okay, Alex is wearing a thumb guard, and he has all year, and I've been waiting for a chance to share with the people. You see, it's on his left thumb. It's that black ring. And what that does, it takes the friction out of whenever he gets jammed, which sometimes is a lot and breaks his bat. So it takes a little bit of that friction out of his hand. And you can watch him when he's in the on-deck circle. He always puts that little thumb guard in his mouth. And he takes his practice swings, and then when he's ready to hit, he told me, then I put it on my thumb, and it tells me I'm ready for some big league action.
So he puts it in his mouth?
Yeah, it's always in his mouth when he's taking his practice swings. I asked him about that.
Does it taste good?
I wouldn't think so. Yeah. But you know, ball players, they're superstitious guys, and he's been doing that for a while, and he probably don't care about the taste. He's just thinking about that pitcher and how he can get on base, which has been regular lately with his good inside-out swing, and also he's been pulling some balls lately.
Skies it to center field. We have that same crosswind tonight as we had last night, blowing in from right. So Brantley handles the fly ball. 1 down.
Okay, it's pretty good defense out there. They're in the top third of the American League in fielding. But Michael Brantley in center field, he has been a very good center fielder for them. He's what they need. Last night he made a spectacular catch on a Billy Butler drive in left center field. He loves to play. I talked to him before the game, and I said, you know, your dad was a big leaguer for about 3 or 4 years. Mickey Brantley. Who was better, you or him? And he says, my dad tells me I was better, but I have a lot of respect for Pops.
And also spent some time as a major league hitting coach.
And he said that he just can't wait to get out there and play. He's like Escobar and Salvi and several other guys out there that just really can't wait. He says when he puts his big league uniform on after batting practice and he goes out on the field for warm-ups, tells him it's game on, and he said the adrenaline starts pumping. Just like this guy Escobar, loves to play. Gets excited to be out here.
And he'll go down to first on 4 straight pitches out of the strike zone. 1 on, 1 out for the Royals. And we don't need to tell you about the weather. It's hot. It's windy tonight. 97 degrees game time temperature. Over 100 degrees in Kansas City earlier today. And we had some cloud cover yesterday, which provided some relief, and that carried over into the morning hours, but that burned away, so it was hot and sunny. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot at KCI. And now Lorenzo Cain, and Royals got off to a good start last night. They scored a run in the first, they got 2 in the second, and then 5 in the third. And Lorenzo Cain setting the tone with an RBI single in the first, driving in Alex Gordon. And that's up the middle and into center field. Escobar will round second but hold. Royals have 2 on with 1 out.
One of the reasons Ned Yost is going with Cain, I mentioned it earlier, it's his production. He's been driving some runs in that third spot ahead of Billy Butler. He's got a 320 average with runners in scoring position, and Butler's 287 with runners in scoring position. That's what you want, a good high number for your 3 and 4 guys. They're your run producers. And Billy Butler, he put a charge into one. I've talked about this. Now, this catch right here was really a nice catch, good timing. But the fact that the sun, the shadow, just the whole shot of that, the sign in the background, I mean, I thought that was really a nice play, particularly the time of day. But he said that he don't care about how pretty it was. He wants to hit one over his head this time.
And Billy is 1 home run away from tying his career high. He had 21 in 2009, and at times he's been criticized because he doesn't hit enough home runs, but he has at least 4 or 5 of those here at Kauffman Stadium every year. Runners go, and the Royals will have a double steal and more. Escobar scores on the throwing error by Santana. Cain's at third, and the Royals lead 1-0.
Okay, I'd like to see this. The Royals have this arsenal in their weaponry on offense. Guys that can run the bases and cause mistakes. That surprised Santana. He pulled the throw down the line and 1-0 without even getting a hit to drive the guy in. That's what speed can do when you intimidate your guys and catch them off guard by surprise.
And the infield stays back for Billy, and he grounds it past McAllister. Knocked down by Kipnis. He'll throw Butler out, but Billy will drive in Cain. 65 RBIs for Billy Butler, and the Royals have a 2-0 first inning lead.
Well, what's impressive about Billy Butler, just, a lot of things offensively, what he does, but the fact that he hits his 305 average, he doesn't run. A guy that can run turns this into a base hit. Okay, he stayed with that breaking ball, hit it off the ground. Good piece of hitting to pick up the ribby. But the fact that Kipnis dropped it and then picked it up and threw him out tells me that this guy is a pure hitter. He doesn't run any of his average.
One and one on Mike Moustakas, who's trying to bust out of an 0 for 16. Batting right at 260, 16 home runs, 50 driven in. And it was a rare hitless night for him against the Indians last night. Moustakas was hitting over 400 against the Tribe this year with 10 RBIs. 2-2. Royals getting their first look at Zach McAllister, who is out of the Yankees organization. He is from Chillicothe, Illinois, and he was on his way to the University of Nebraska, but the Yankees took him in the 3rd round of 06. In 2009, he was the Yankees minor league pitcher of the year and made his big league debut with the Indians last season. The inning comes to an end. The Royals score 2 runs on 1 hit. There was an error, and at the end of 1, the Royals lead 2-0. 2-0 lead. And coming up is Royals Kids Fest. That's Sunday as the Royals host the Texas Rangers, and the first 5,000 kids through the gates receive a sports necklace courtesy of your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Well, a little bit of run support for Luis Mendoza. Something he's been looking for a while. He's made 8 starts since going back into the starting rotation full time. And over those 8 starts, the Royals have scored 13 runs for him. Santana drives it to deep center field, and Dyson to the track to bring it down.
All right, elevation is what Mendoza doesn't want. That's out over the plate. Santana and the rest of his team hit some warning track power shots in last night's game, and there's another one there. So they've been able to keep him in the yard. Speaking of that, Mendoza's done a great job. He's just given up 5 home runs in 92 2/3 innings. That matches Reds' Johnny Cueto for the fewest home runs allowed.
Moustakas, strong throw, and it is a very rare occasion when Eric Hosmer doesn't dig it out. And so Lopez will be safe at first with 1 out. That's an error on Moustakas.
Yep. And this is a rare miss at first. However, you can't assume he's going to make that play every single time. Okay, it was in his glove. He just didn't close his glove in time to keep the ball in. It's Moose's 11th error of the year.
Which seems impossible. I think I can recall about 2 or 3 errors. Everything that's been hit to him, it seems, this year has been an automatic out.
There's been a lot of action with ground ball pitchers, sinker ballers. The Royals have. The fact that they've gotten hit around a little bit, their starting rotation, there's been a lot of balls flying out there in that infield. They generally make all the plays.
1-1 on Johnny Damon, who was 1 for 4 last night with an RBI.
That's the 73rd error overall by the Royals, and they're in the bottom 3rd in the league in fielding percentage.
Off the plate, and now Moustakas cuts across the infield, throws out Damon, and then Hosmer back to second trying to catch Lopez. So Moustakas makes an error on one play and then turns in a highlight play on the next one.
Well, there was a time when this would have been a pocket ball for Moose because Damon could fly. There was no chance you were going to get him. But Moose comes in, takes everything he can, and he gets him at first base. You love a third baseman if you're a shortstop that's aggressive to take all those tough plays away from you. Escobar quickly ran to third base in case the runner was going to go over there. Moose is right near his buddy at first on that play. That's some range.
So now bonus time for the Indians. Without the error, the inning would be over, and now Casey Kochman with Lopez at second base. Kochman 1 for 3 with an RBI last night.
He's had a little success off of Mendoza too. He's 4 for 6.
Kochman's never really been much of a hitter, but last year he made the Tampa Bay Rays as a non-roster player and ended up having his best season as far as batting average goes. His power is up this year with the Indians, but he had 326, or at least he was hitting 326 last year at this time, and finished the year over 300. Hosmer backhands, so the error does not turn into a run. And Mendoza gets his first 2 ground ball outs. 2-0 Royals. To establish the Evelyn Gates Award in honor of their friend who was an advocate for girls' high school sports. The award honors the top female high school volleyball player in the KC area each year based on spirit, sportsmanship, and skill, as well as provides a $500 stipend for the school's athletic department. Diane is enjoying the game tonight in the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat and enjoying a Royals 2-0 lead. 1 ball, 1 strike on Salvador Perez. Royals got a run on a throwing error by the catcher Carlos Santana, trying to throw out Alcides Escobar at third. The ball went into left field. Escobar scored, and then Lorenzo Cain coming home on a ground ball out from Billy Butler. Off of McAllister, who couldn't find it right away, but it's time to throw out Perez.
Okay, Royals have been directing a lot of ground balls up the middle so far early in this one. That one finally got him. Now they're not exactly trying to hit him because that takes a hit away from the hitter. Sometimes, if the ball would have bounced a little further, it would have been different.
There's Jeremy Jeffress, who just joined the Royals from CLE Omaha, so he replaces Jonathan Broxton on the roster after Broxton was traded yesterday to the Reds. The Royals played with just 24 last night. So Greg Holland moves up to the closer's role, opening up a spot for Jeffress.
And he's going to be like a 2-inning guy, maybe 2-3 inning. That's what Ned is going to use him in that role. Looking for some consistency and command out of his good young arm, lively arm. 96 to 99 miles an hour the guy throws. Jeffress.
1-2 on Hosmer, who was hitless last night, but he chipped in with a walk and a run scored. And got him with a high fastball at 93 miles an hour, and Zach McAllister strikes out his first. Coming up on Saturday, the Royals will host the annual Faith and Family Night. The Texas Rangers will be in town. That's a 5:10 game, so they've moved it up 1 hour. The event will feature a post-game speech by Ranger slugger Josh Hamilton, as well as a performance by Dove award-winning artist Building 429. Again, 5:10 on Saturday. $2-0 on Chris Getz. 2 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored last night. Also had a good night at second base. And now 3-0.
So McAllister is a lot like Derek Lowe, minus all the experience. He's a young guy with a good hard sinker. He's learning, but he's a breath of fresh air to Scott Radinsky, their pitching coach. He told me before the game, you know, this guy, he is a really good kid. He understands pitching. You know, he's enthusiastic. And that's his second walk down. He didn't walk many. He's at 16 walks in 62 innings coming in. But Scott Radinsky really likes the kid. He says that, you know, this guy, he was one of our best pitchers in spring training. We went with another veteran pitcher because he had experience, and he's come up here and he's earned himself a role on my starting pitching staff here. So McAllister, of course, he's been around the game. His dad, he's been a scout in baseball for years. Presently, he's with the Diamondbacks. He's a scouting supervisor in the Midwest. So whenever young players are raised in a big league environment and have been around baseball, they have a better way of carrying themselves. They have a better understanding.
Getz is running, and he gets under the tag for his 8th stolen base, and the Royals already have 3 stolen bases against the Indians tonight.
Okay, it's off to the races. I like it. The fact that they are going, being aggressive, taking it to the Indians. Gets his hand, gets caught behind him. He couldn't quite get both of them out there with a Superman slide, but he's in scoring position with 2 outs.
And now very high to Gerard Dyson, who had a 3-hit game last night, tying his career high. And Ned Yost joking after the game that it was a Gerard Dyson cycle, which means a single, a double, a triple, and a fly ball to the warning track.
Oh, well, Dyson, he knows his game. Power is not one of the elements in it. Okay, now Getz, he's been a little bit erratic at sliding at second base this year. His right hand got caught behind him there, and he did make a trip to the DL this year on a slide like that earlier. So he says he's more comfortable going head first than feet first.
Looked like he got his hand caught on Cabrera's shoe, bending his hand back. And now Dyson swats it to center field, and the Royals will score again. It's 3-0 in the second inning, and the Royals have scored 11 runs in this series with the Indians, and all 11 runs have come in the first 3 innings.
Okay, now he's a run producer. He's not a guy to get on base, although that he'll do both with that one swing. And he was looking for something up. McAllister's not overpowering. So the Royals are telling themselves, hey, look, we got a chance to have another big offensive night on a guy who's not going to blow it by us. He's hittable. Gerard, 268 now. He's over 270 with runners in scoring position. That's a pretty nice mark for him. Ryan, I know you've never heard this statistic before from me. When the Royals score first, what their record is?
You like that number?
I do. 32-15.
Dyson runs. He steals second base. That's 4 for the Royals in the first 2 innings. And they're just going to run Carlos Santana right into the fountains.
And really, it's McAllister. Santana's the guy you feel for because they're getting the jump off McAllister. See, now when that fielder puts his foot in front of that base there, you have to go for the other side of the base, or else you'll jam your fingers up in his shoe.
Outside, 2-0 on Alex. 0-for-1 tonight. We'll look at tonight's Toyota League leaders. 36 doubles for Alex. And the top 3 doubles hitters are in the game tonight. Shin-Soo Choo with 32 and Michael Brantley with 29.
Okay, that swing there told me that Gordon was looking to pull it. Most of the time in his leadoff spot since late May, maybe early June, he's been focusing on getting on base and getting his hits to the opposite field. But recently, he's been seeing inside fastballs. He's trying to yank a few of them. I like that. He's got some pop. See all that pine tar on his back? That's from his practice swings on deck. He likes the pine tar.
The 36 doubles also ties for the major league lead with Joey Votto of the Reds. He's out with knee surgery, and yeah, his home runs are down, but it's hard to say a guy isn't hitting for power when he's tied for the most doubles in the game. Just some of those doubles haven't carried out of the ballpark like they did last year. Alex had 45 doubles last season with 23 home runs, and now he's ahead in the count, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Okay, if you go by his major league service time, he's in his 5th year. Gordon is opening. He's 28 years old. He's just now kind of getting into his prime. I don't think a hitter gets in his prime till late 20s, early 30s. That's just my opinion. So he's gonna put together a year that with power, doubles, stolen bases, and I see it coming. He's still kind of figuring himself out. He's in his 5th year. But he's a very good athlete and plays hard. And he's focused. And he doesn't miss any games with little nagging injuries or anything. He's a gamer. What's your definition of the term gamer?
Well, at the top of the list was what you just described, that he doesn't let nagging injuries bother him. He has a good feel for the game. You don't need to sit him down after every inning and explain the game to him. He has a good idea of what he wants to do every time he comes to the plate. He has a good idea of what he wants to do with the ball when it's hit to him in left field. But more than anything, as you said, I mean, he is somebody that Ned Yost doesn't have to worry about every night. Just put in Gordon with the number 7 next to him at the top of the Royals lineup every night.
And for me, the word gamer is a guy that'll make the play at any cost. Just make the play, and that's what he does.
Drilled into left center field, and that is down for another extra base hit. So Alex takes over the major league lead with his 37th double. And after getting 2 runs in the first inning, the Royals have 2 more in the second.
He fouled off some McAllister offerings and then finally got the one he wanted. That's not over the middle. Good hitters do that. They foul off those borderline pitches until they get the cookie, and he knows exactly what to do. Splits the opposite field gap. Nice, super slow motion, good follow through, perfect balance. He's a hitter.
And the Royals, with 4 runs, 3 hits, they have turned a couple of walks into runs. They have a run thanks to an error. And they scored 4 runs off a pitcher who hasn't been giving up many runs lately. In fact, McAllister had gone 8 straight starts without allowing more than 3 runs. And the Royals have 4 before the second inning is over.
It's because he's up in the zone. And you're facing a Royals team now that's feeding off of last night. They're confident.
And all of this started with 2 outs and nobody on. Perez grounded out, Hosmer struck out, then the walk to Getz.
2-out rallies hurt your opponents. Of course, any rallies do, but when you have 2 outs and you're close to getting out of the inning, and the hits just keep coming and they keep scoring runs, all of a sudden the defense and everybody else goes, wow, they're killing us. It's like a punch in the gut. Good stat.
Escobar was able to hold his swing. There's big Laz Diaz umpiring at first base. Escobar had 3 RBIs last night. He's driven in runs in each of his last 3 games. Walked, stole a base, and scored in the first inning tonight. And that ball's hit hard, blocked by Hanahan to keep it in front of him. And that ends the inning. Another 2-run inning for the Royals. And at the end of 2, 4-0 KC. Mendoza, who again in his previous 8 starts had only received 13 runs of support, and the Royals have given him 4 in the first 2 tonight, and he's only allowed 1 base hit in his 2 innings. Jack Hanahan, the number 9 hitter, takes a strike.
Mendoza knows what to do. Just pound down, challenge him right at the knees, down low on both sides of the plate, and use his defense. With Getz in there at second base, they've got a good rangy infield. Guys get to a lot of balls there. Between Hosmer, Getz, Escobar, and Moose, man, they really make it tough on guys that hit ground balls through the infield. And that's ideal for a sinker baller.
And you mentioned in his last start against Seattle, had a tough time getting the ball down, and he went 5 innings, so he recorded 15 outs, but only 5 were ground ball outs. He didn't have a horrible start. He gave up 4 runs in 5 innings, but of course his game is keeping the ball on the ground, and Perez trying to emphasize that before that last pitch came in, putting his glove on the dirt in front of him, and that breaking ball stayed up to Hanahan. Mendoza tonight making his 4th appearance against the Indians this year. There's the breaking ball down that Perez wanted. 1-1 so far against Cleveland with a high ERA, 6.39. And during the opening homestand, Mendoza was just rolling along against the Indians. He had 2 scoreless innings and was working on a 1-2-3 third. And you might remember a ground ball. Chris Getz throwing to first. The runner was called safe. Looking at the replay, he should have been out, and that should have ended the inning. And the Indians turned that into a 6-run inning.
I remember that. Unfortunate. That was back in their losing streak, where things just weren't going right for them.
Hanahan down around the end of the bat, but placed perfectly in between Dyson and Kane. And Hanahan just barely beats the throw and may have injured himself as he goes hard and heavy into second base. He has a leadoff double.
Perfect placement for Hanahan. Ball out over the plate on the outer half. Dyson nearly overran it, almost slipped, but he's able to get his feet under him to make a great throw. Good pick by Escobar. And Escobar stepped on Hanahan's hand. That's how he got a little owie there. Dyson wanted that assist. He says, oh, man. See Escobar step on him there? Happens out there.
And from Hanahan to Shin-Soo Choo, which would remind you of that bench clearing incident the Royals and the Indians had. Shin-Soo Choo getting hit by Jonathan Sanchez, and Mike Moustakas was hit. Jack Hanahan got right in the middle of it, running over from the dugout and getting right in Sanchez's face. No balls, 2 strikes on Choo.
I remember this when this was going on here. Okay, kind of hit him right below his right thigh. And here comes Hanahan. Now look, you run all the way out there and you got a free shot on the pitcher like that, and you. Okay, now that's Moose. Moose, you know, he just kind of hesitated a little bit. Ned was out there in the scrum with everybody.
And contrary to what fans might think, managers and coaches, they're not out there to fight. They're out there to make sure that their players don't get injured and don't get thrown out of the game.
Game's changed a lot. You don't see brawls anymore, which is good. Game, you know, it's played every day, and it gets hot this time of year. The dog days set in August 1st here. You know, it's kind of a tough time of year for guys. They're beat up. Most of them are playing with some kind of nagging injury, and tempers flare. And Major League Baseball has done a pretty good job of policing that and putting an end to all those brawls, and with the heavy fines and suspensions they give these guys. But in our day, if Jack Hanahan, he ran out there to get the pitcher, ran 50 yards out there to get him, and then went chest to chest, typically a guy's going to take a shot if he's running all the way out there and gets a free shot on a guy. In our day, when they used to fight, but fighting is not good, especially anywhere, but especially in the amateur level. So young people out there, don't do it. Just play the game. Slide hard into the bases. Run hard, play hard.
Cabrera fly to left in the first inning. Asdrubal Cabrera last year hit 25 home runs for the Indians. That was a team record for a shortstop. And with that, during spring training this year, the Indians signed him to a 3-year contract extension. The Indians and the Royals made similar moves. The Indians locked up their shortstop and their catcher long term. Carlos Santana got a 5-year contract. Royals did the same thing with Alcides Escobar and Salvador Perez. Cabrera can't believe that last pitch was called a strike. He was bending back, thinking it was high and inside.
He thought it was a little high too, a little up in the zone.
And timeout had been called. Nice save by Perez. 1-2 on Cabrera. Mendoza's last 3 outs have been on the ground. Indians were able to lift his pitches in the first 2 innings. 2 outs in the air and then a fly ball to deep center field to begin the 2nd inning. But since then, everything has been down, and now Cabrera fouls it away. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. And he has done a good job of keeping the ball down all season long, with now 95 innings pitched, exactly 95 for Mendoza, and allowing only 5 home runs. Two and two. Cabrera is one of 2 switch hitters in there tonight for the Indians, and one of 8 left-hand batters. Last night, all 9 hitters batted left-handed against Luke Hochevar. And like Hochevar, Mendoza has a little higher opponent's batting average against the lefties. He strikes out Cabrera, and that's his 2nd tonight.
Pulled the string on him nicely. Had a little bit of a snappy to it too. Watch this. What's the break on this curve? Boy, you know, when you have 2 strikes, you're a little defensive, but when it comes out of his hand, it's belt high, and you're saying, I'm going to hit it, and you will go ahead and commit, and it's too late. Ball's out of the zone. That's what the pitch is designed to do.
And back with a breaking ball for a strike to Kipnis. And on a similar pitch in the 1st inning, Mendoza got him looking at a curveball.
First pitch in the at bat, you call that, and he throws you a curve. It's a get me over curve for a strike.
And as you said before, those pitches are designed to slow the bats down, so you can come back at 93 with a fastball, and he throws it right by Kipnis.
Now he's got him where he wants him. 0-2. They call that working ahead. So now you can waste a few pitches if you want to. Try to get him to swing at your pitch. That's what pitchers do to a better percentage of getting you out, retiring you.
You know, Kipnis has had a good year. He's a .269 hitter if you look at his batting average in all of his at-bats, but with runners in scoring position, you can add almost 120 points to his average. He's in the top 4 with runners at 2nd and or 3rd base. And he has Hanahan down at 2nd with 2 down. One and two.
I'll tell you what, as refreshing as the West Coast was temperature-wise, you ask any of these players out here, and they'll tell you, yeah, you know, it was nice, but I would much rather have this nice warm heat. Ball flies, especially position guys that hit. Ball carries. It helps your body stay more loose. Little aches and pains. When it's 98 degrees, that's body temperature outside. Makes your body feel better. It warms it up, and it keeps it warm, and you don't tighten up.
Well, the pitchers don't feel the same about that, right?
No,
I mean,
no.
they're out. That's more of a workout for them in the heat like this.
And balls carry further. They don't like that. But you know, you deal with the elements.
And now Kipnis comes back from 0-2 and a full count.
He's trying to steal a base. He's trying to steal first.
Lost track of the count.
That's the one base you can't steal in this game.
You can try.
I found that out. One of my managers used to tell me that. Buck Rogers would say, you know, all you can do is run, and you can't steal first base in this league. And so he's trying to count. It wasn't ball 4, but he's trying to deke the umpire into thinking it was. Mike Everett.
And we'll do it again. As the Royals build with young players, the Indians are trying to do the same thing. And Kipnis was a second-round pick of the Indians 3 years ago. And then 2 years ago, he was their minor league player of the year. Spoils another pitch. He's not very big. He's 5'11", but good bat speed. As we were talking earlier, hit an impressive home run here at Kauffman Stadium back in April. On a night opposite this one, it was a good night to pitch. It wasn't a good night to hit. And he homered to the opposite field into left center. And that's tough to do if you're a right-hand batter trying to pull it.
Mendoza'd like for him just to hit a little weak ground ball, get out of the inning.
Good pitch in on his hands. Hosmer hangs it in the air for Mendoza, who works around a leadoff double. 4-0 Royals to the bottom of the third.
Stadium. Joel Goldberg back on social media night, and you can get involved right on FoxSportsKansasCity.com or at FS Kansas City. Here's a comment that just came into our new MLB Game Connect. Just turned on the Royals game. What is up with all of this offense from Zach Carnahan? And yes, the Royals offense has opened up over the last couple of days. Hud, here's one for you. We get this one from time to time, and people wondering what they're seeing. Justina at MIZ_Judy. Why is Moose's helmet so black in the front? We see that from Alex Gordon, among others. How about you explain that?
Black in the front's pine tar. And also white in the back. And you check out Moose's hat. That's rosin bag. That's the bag that's in back of the pitcher's mound. They have them in the on-deck circle. That all those things help the hitter's grip.
So you put it on the helmet, it's almost like taking a pine tar rag to the plate with you.
Exactly. And you know, if you're ever down in the dugout and you go and touch one of those helmets, it's like you don't even have to grip the helmet to pick it up. It'll stick right to your hand. You can just lift it right up and it'll stick right on there.
Yeah, like that piece of bubble gum, Moustakas, that'll be stuck to his batting glove all night. Kane is 1 for 2. We remind you, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Billy Butler drove in a run in the first inning with a ground out, giving him a team-leading 65. He has hit in 6 straight games, and he's 3rd in the American League with 39 multi-hit games. McAllister trying to pitch him inside, ball 1.
You know, if you're a pitcher and you're facing Billy Butler, you're not real comfortable, especially when you see those numbers and you go, you know what, this guy looks like he knows what he's doing. Hard to get off balance, has a good eye, good plate discipline, seems like he has a plan every time he goes to the plate. And you would like to have all 9 batters do that, but you can't. There are different levels of maturity as baseball players.
You know, think about his stance too. There are some pitchers who have kind of a herky-jerky, mean-looking pitching motion. I mean, it's just intimidating to see the ball out of their hand. Well, Billy in some ways has the equivalent. The way he strides back and he loads. I mean, he's just winding up, almost like a pitcher does as the pitch is coming in. I'm sure the pitcher takes notice of that. He's out on a fly ball to Chu, and 2 down in the 3rd inning. We forgot about Joel.
All right, guys, want to remind everybody they can get involved tonight, too, and just go to @FS Kansas City and tweet us in some questions, hashtag social media night, and we'll take a look at some of those.
How'd it go tonight, by the way?
Well, we had a great time with Danny Duffy. We'll see if we can play some of that later. He explained what some of his California lingo sometimes means on Twitter, because I told him today that there's sometimes I read his tweets and I don't understand him, and I don't know if that's because I'm young or old, or I didn't grow up in California, and I think it's both. Like the term nar.
That's gnarly.
Well, yeah, you're from California.
Nar. Oh boy. 4-0 Royals at the end of 3. For the 4th inning, we invite you to come to the ballpark on Friday as the Royals begin a series with the Rangers. It's Retro Night. We're going to turn back the clock, and the first 20,000 fans receive a Mr. Royal Retro Lunchbox presented by Fox Sports Kansas City. Go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Royals have scored 12 runs in this series with the Indians, and all runs coming in the first 3 innings. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and the Indians are really at odds with the strike zone of home plate umpire Mike Everett, who is calling the high strike, which on one hand is a good thing, but on the other hand is not a good thing for Luis Mendoza, because that's not where the Royals want to be aiming in the strike zone. Brantley flies out to center field. 1 down in the 4th. Check the velocities tonight of Zach McAllister and Luis Mendoza. McAllister at 94 and Mendoza at 95. You can get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet.
I will tell you that those speeds are pretty much very accurate, but it's hard to get sync on your pitch like that. That was a changeup at 95. So there are two sinker baller pitchers throwing 94, 95 miles an hour. That sometimes is flat, it straightens out up at the top, and it gets hit. So less is more.
You hear that a lot about sinker ball pitchers. You say, well, how hard does he throw? Well, he throws anywhere from 92 to 96, but he's better when he's at 92 to 93. So just because a sinker baller can throw 95 or 96, that's not always a good idea. Carlos Santana got a pitch up in the second inning and flied out to the warning track in center field.
You know, Mendoza, he's listed at 6'3", 245. To me, he's like 6'4", 6'5". He really looks big when you're near him, when you're up close to him. So he's durable. They always knew he could be a good starter, and I think on a championship team, he can be a fourth or fifth starter because he's going to eat up some innings, and he showed that he can, with some run support, he can win games.
George Brett and Art Stewart deciding to stay indoors tonight with the extreme heat. Kane is back in right field, and once again, well, they're going to say Santana hit it out. The Royals think that it hit the padding and stayed in, but they're not going to argue. It was the second base umpire, Mike Estabrook, who ran out and called it a home run, saying it hit the railing. And now Ned Yost is going to come out and talk it over. Chris Getz is voicing his opinion, so we might get a review here, as Ned is not going to the umpire who made the call. He's going right to the crew chief, third base umpire Tim Welke. Now, we're a long way away from right field, but I thought it hit the padding.
It took a funny hop after it hit the padding. Typically, yeah, that's a home run.
That's a home run.
I thought it was, because if you hit the padding, it's not coming back that hard. So it had a funny hop off of the back of it. So sure enough, it did go over it. But they are going to go review it because they can. That's one of the replays in baseball that they'll go over, and they'll go down underneath. One umpire stays on the field to make sure order is kept. And they'll go and they have a TV there, and actually they'll call headquarters in New York, and they'll get the call right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to one of the Indians announcer, their television voice, Matt Underwood, and he brought up to me, and here we are on August the 1st, and it's the first broadcaster from another team who said, is there more padding on the wall this year? And he's right. And we had a couple of home runs last year that went to replay before they put that another 12 inches or so of padding on the outfield wall. We had some balls that went over the padding but hit the railing behind, and it was very difficult for the umpires to see if the ball went over or not. So
talking about this little section right here.
So to help them out, that padding was added. And the umpires are already back out, and crew chief Tim Welke rules it a home run. Santana has already circled the bases, and the ball, as we saw by way of replay, clearly disappeared behind that section of padding in right field. And so Mendoza allows just his 6th home run of the year, and the Indians are on the board. It is a 4-1 game as Santana hits his 10th home run of the season. And now Lopez jumped on a curveball that was up, and Alex in the left field corner brings it down 2 away. And now Mendoza starting to get the ball up again. A fly out to center, a home run to right center, now fly out to left.
See where that home run pitch was to Santana. I'm thinking it was elevated. It wasn't, but it's out over the plate.
So, well, I tell you what, though, if you were to ask Mendoza, hey, a left-hand hitter is going to try and pull that ball down and away, 9 out of 10 times, that's just going to be a ground ball to the right side.
Here's why you give the hitter credit there. A lot of hitters that aren't trained how to lift that ball that's down low, they'll roll that over and that's an out. But a hitter who has an idea on how to lift a pitch like that can do exactly what he did.
Alex makes the play on Johnny Damon. That's the inning. The Indians are on the board on Santana's 10th home run of the year. Royals baseball is brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealer and by AT&T, the world's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Salvador Perez, Eric Hosmer, and Chris Getz in the bottom of the 4th inning. Zach McAllister throws a strike. McAllister had gone 8 consecutive starts without allowing more than 3 runs in a game, and the Royals took care of that in the 2nd inning. 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd.
Scott Radinsky, Cleveland pitching coach, said he likes the angle. He likes the fact that at 6'6", he can throw downhill and make the angle more difficult for hitters to square him up. But they're not machines. You know, they're going to make mistakes. So hitters wait for him to be elevated, and Salvador's waiting.
First year, Scott Radinsky is the full-time pitching coach of the Indians. Last year it was former Royal Tim Belcher. The Indians made some strides last year on the mound, in particular in reducing their walks, which had a lot to do with the urging of Belcher. And there's a called 3rd strike on a borderline pitch. It's a pitcher's strike zone tonight, that's for sure. And McAllister has his 2nd strikeout.
So as a hitter, after the first time around or so, and you can kind of tell that umpires giving the pitchers a little bit more, well, instead of complain, you go up there and you say, I'm hacking. I'm going to be swinging. With 2 strikes, if anything's close, you can't let the umpire call you out. Go ahead and hit. And you can square up balls that are on the corners and not right down the middle. Look, you don't have to be there to hit it. I've seen guys hit balls neck high, balls 2 feet outside. I mean, you know, you can still get hits. I'll say a foot.
Big vicious swing by Hosmer, down 1 ball 2 strikes. And let's see what McAllister does with him now with the count 1-2, because he struck Hosmer out with a fastball above the letters in the 2nd inning. That one got a lot of the plate and it's fouled away.
Especially with 2 strikes, I'd really like to see Eric shorten up his swing a little bit and not try to swing so hard. He's like he's trying to hit it on the 70 freeway out here. And when you swing hard, it takes your head off the ball.
Right center field, and Brantley is there for out number 2. Brantley giving the Indians a long look at him in center field. The Indians were hopeful to get Grady Sizemore back this year. He's had just an awful last few years when it comes to injuries, and finally appeared to be healthy, but he went down with back surgery in spring training and is yet to appear in a game for the Indians. So they're missing an impact bat in the outfield, but that opens up a spot for Brantley to play a premier position.
And Brantley, he understands the opportunity he's getting, and he's seizing the moment.
2 hops to Kochman. And Zach McAllister has retired the last 7 Royals, but the Royals lead 4-1. Social media night, and our twit is Joel Goldberg. No, I didn't mean that. Our Twitter expert is what I meant to say. Is Joel Goldberg.
I found out today you have something in common with Ned Yost.
Really?
Yes. He was asked how involved he is in social media, and he said 0. He said he doesn't do Twitter or Facebook or any of that stuff.
He knew all the terms.
And I
right?
said, yeah. And I said, you and Ryan can hang. Actually, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
He could tweet from like a tree stand or something.
He could. He could.
I don't think it's going to happen, though. All right, hear this on our MLB Game Connect. Can we get Rex to say, go ahead and raise the roof for us?
Go ahead, Mindy. Keep it right there down at the knees, and we'll be raising the roof. Go ahead.
I saw some reply to that one on Twitter saying, please don't.
Well, you know what?
You got to do it.
Not everybody understands my baseball terminologies and my lingo, and
although
that could be
I noticed something.
He's a California guy.
I did notice something at the end of that, though, when, go ahead, raise the roof, and then he said, go ahead. It's got a little bit of a Clint Eastwood to it.
That's his video game voice.
Yeah.
That's it. I get excited, and so go ahead and show them.
Danny was great, by the way, up on the Budweiser patio for the social media night, interacting with the fans and answering questions. Then he was on Hy-Vee Royals Live. And I love it that, I said to him, and there we see him up at the Budweiser patio, but I said to him during the show, I don't understand what you're saying sometimes, and I know I'm old, and I'm not from California. And then he said, what do you mean, like nar? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, that means gnarly, so you need to start using that. So, I mean, I was thinking, Hutton, of course, you got it right away. You're older than me, but you're from California. That Gerard Dyson stealing second before on a pitch out was nar.
It's nar.
He said adjective, verb, however you want to use it.
Yeah, sometimes he can make a rad play, too.
Well, rad, I get. I think that was Ryan in my era in the 80s, right?
Mendoza strikes out his third as he gets hand-to-hand and 2 quick outs in the 5th inning.
Oh, it's a whole new world, Joel, with all the different ways of communication, and it's very interesting.
I did have a question that came in before, and I want to see if I can find it, but I'll give you the gist of it, and if I can find the name, I'll pass it on. But it was someone asking, you know, if Yost is able to fire up the guys in the clubhouse, and I think this is something that is misunderstood, and you played football and baseball at a competitive level, but the type of speech you get in a football locker room completely different than the type of speech, if there's any at all, in a baseball clubhouse.
No question. There's no, it's a day-to-day grind here, so maybe whenever the team is a little sluggish or something, you might have a meeting once a month. And it depends on what the mood of the manager is. And it just depends on what kind. I don't know if Ned's a yeller. I've never been in his clubhouse before, but I was in some clubhouses with some pretty interesting managers, and they all had different styles. Joe Torre never had to raise his voice. He was real calm. He would look at you when he was mad at you, and you just looked at those deep, dark Italian eyes, and you went, "Oh, sorry, Joe." He didn't have to yell. Billy Martin, he's going to yell at you. Earl Weaver would ream you up and down the dugout. Those guys were not afraid to. They were old school guys. They're going to yell at you. Yogi Berra was a sweetheart. He just encouraged.
What percentage of the time was Yogi? Anyway.
1984, his last year managing.
9-pitch 5th inning for Mendoza, working with a 3-run lead. Of the 5th inning. And Gerard Dyson, who has driven in a run tonight, drives Brantley to the track, and once again Michael Brantley makes a very difficult play look routine. And now all of a sudden Zach McAllister, who was knocked around for 4 runs in the first 2 innings, has retired the last 8 Royals.
Well, what makes that catch so special is there's no way he's expecting Gerard Dyson to hit a ball 410 feet. So he was playing fairly shallow, but he got a great jump on contact, and he runs it down with ease, with glide-like strides, gazelle-like, nice and smooth.
Did you guys hear Ned Yost's comment about the Dyson cycle last night?
I did.
Single, double, triple, and a ball to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I I had mentioned that to Dyson today. I said, come on, man. You can hit a homer. Kevin Seitzer wouldn't want to hear me saying that. But what about a cycle with an inside-the-park home run then?
That would be more of his style.
Now, had Brantley had trouble with that and it kicked off the wall, Dyson was already at second base when he caught it, so we might have seen one there.
0-2 on Alex, who hit another double in the second inning, his 37th, and that now leads the major leagues. Also drove in his 39th run. Royals got 2 in the first, 2 in the second against McAllister.
Joel, how's that Twitter board of yours?
It's going okay. I did have somebody wondering about Mendoza driving the bus, because that's another one of yours, but you wanted to point out something?
Yeah. Only bus drivers drive runs in and make a difference in the offense. And I call that guy, he's the bus driver tonight. He's driving the bus. And playing in the clubhouses, lots of times somebody would yell, who's driving the bus? Some guys would come in and say, I'm driving. All aboard. Just another way of day-to-day grind that players and characters throw things out there. And I just bring them up here to the people. That's all.
Yeah, I heard a player the other day, I think it was Jeff Francoeur, talking about Alex Gordon and all those broken bat singles, and he said at least they are those bats.
Died a hero.
Yeah.
Got a knock.
Got to get a knock. We got another one coming in from our MLB Game Connect on FoxSportsKansasCity.com. So, with the NFL stadiums doing under-the-hood video replays on Jumbotrons, what are the chances the MLB follows suit? From Cleveland_Matt, there is going to be some evolution to instant replay here. I mean, essentially they go under that tunnel. It's the under-the-hood type of thing. But I think we're going to see more be reviewed in the pretty near future.
And what are they talking about? They're talking about the foul lines now, and also whether a ball was trapped or not in the outfield is going to be the next stage of instant replay. At least those are the most recent comments from Commissioner Bud Selig.
I still like, you and I have talked about it before, Ryan, some form of going upstairs to a guy in a booth that's an umpire supervisor that can immediately buzz down yes or no, and not balls and strikes, but more than just fair and foul over the fence and traps. But there are a lot of plays where maybe it is close and they miss it at first base, or they miss the tag. We've seen the tag missed a bunch of times.
Escobar going the other way for a base hit. He's hit in 5 straight, and that snaps the string as McAllister had retired 9 in a row. Well, he's really got that swing down, doesn't he?
Like his approach, I was going to say, that's Kevin Seitzer. He's a Kevin Seitzer pupil. Seitzer likes to see guys, especially if you're not a power hitter, utilize the opposite field and center field. That's where you get a majority of your hits and your higher batting average guys and on base percentage.
Got a question for you guys. This one coming to the hashtag social media night from Corey Reppenhagen. Are we going to see Aaron Crow at ACrow43 is his Twitter handle?
There you go, Hud. Come on, Hud. Nice. Wow.
Watch out, swing dog.
Very nice. Wow. Saving the camera, saving Ron Swan's life. Nice play. And that wasn't easy. I mean, that wasn't right at you. You had to lean over the camera.
Doc got out of the way. I think he felt me coming.
Doc's a smart man.
I thought that was going into the next booth, and I'm like, what is he doing? And then there it is, right in your hands.
And today we had some guests come up here, and they looked at the small window. They go, do you ever get any action up here? And I said, we haven't had a ball up here all year. Tonight's the night, Goldie. When you're up here, too, it's beautiful.
No, it's not me, but
yeah,
now
it is.
You always are holding one baseball. I could tell one's a little bit old and one's new, so what do you do?
This one has Delaware, Mississippi mud on it. Actually, not Mississippi. It's Delaware mud.
River mud.
It's from that Delaware Mississippi
mud,
area.
Yeah,
exactly.
Somewhere down there.
Yeah.
But it's all rubbed up.
It's a hybrid mud.
It's different looking. And you get a pearl. They call them right out of the wrappers. Brand new ball. But they have to rub them down a little bit. Put a little dirt on them.
Tom Walsh, T-Man, works in the umpire's room. In charge of that.
Isn't Delaware River meet the Mississippi River somewhere?
Not when I grew up.
Yeah.
But you played in 2 cities that had each of those rivers.
You're right.
St. Louis has the Mississippi.
And Philly.
Philly's got the Delaware. Are you confused yet?
I'm very.
Anyway, Ryan, how is your geography at the University of Minnesota, where the Mississippi River passes through?
I don't ever recall a intersection of the Mississippi and the Delaware River. But
Okay, our producer said we can move forward now.
Guy catches the baseball and we're killing him. Here's one for you with the throw over to first. Does Salvi, this coming from Chip 1213, does Salvi have a better chance to win a Gold Glove first or make the All-Star game?
Good question. What do you think, Ryan?
he might do both in the same year.
I'm going to say yes, that he'll be an All-Star and a Gold Glover, but I think the All-Star year comes first.
I agree.
It's hard to get that Gold Glove.
Puts him on the map a little bit nationally.
Fair ball over the third base bag. Damon, who played here, knows how to play it off the barrier wall. The relay to the plate, not in time. Kane to third, safe. Royals lead 5-1. And once again, a run scoring for the Royals after 2 outs and nobody on base.
And Lorenzo Cain continues to drive the bus. That's why he's in the third spot for Ned Yost and the Royals, because of this. He's aggressive, and he finds the gap and knocks in some runs. And obviously his legs are starting to get better and getting underneath him, because we saw him steal a base last night and then he ran all 3 bases there. Good sign.
Did you guys notice the amount of speed on the base pass, and it didn't even involve Gerard Dyson?
Right. Butler grounds out to third. The Royals get a run after McAllister had retired 9 in a row. Escobar singles, Kane doubles him home, and once again the Royals have a 4-run lead. For Sluggers Blue Crew, presented by U.S. Toy. Members receive a batting practice jersey, a backpack, a water bottle, ticket vouchers, front of the line access for every Sunday fun run, and much more for just $20. You can join right now at Royals.com/Blue Crew, or you can always stop by the U.S. Toy Store in Leawood. Luis Mendoza has allowed 1 run in 5 1/3 innings after Cabrera lines out to begin the 6th, and he has been very efficient with his pitches after a 25-pitch 3rd inning.
It's another line drive. They hit it at the wrong guy. Try to keep it away if you're a left-handed batter from Hosmer, if you want to hit. You better hit it really hard, pull it, or get it over his head, or he's going to catch it.
Here's Mendoza pitching in the 6th inning, and he has not reached 70 pitches yet. 1 ball, 1 strike on Kipnis.
Boy, those numbers are beautiful. Dave Island's got to love that.
25 pitch 3rd inning, and then no more than 11 in the other 4 innings.
Early count outs, pitching to contact. Dave Island says that when you try to pitch away from contact and you're not a sinker baller, or even if you are, you try to nibble on the plates, you get hurt. Guys you end up walking guys, and the next thing you know, when you got to come over the plate, they make you pay. He says, don't be afraid if you're a sinker baller to pitch to contact or stay around that dish.
2-2.
Just try to locate down in the zone.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Mendoza with excellent run support. The Royals have given him 5 tonight. And as we told you when the game started, in his previous 8 starts, the Royals had scored only 13 runs. And Mendoza has lost 3 of his last 4 starts, but a lot of that had to do with a lack of run support, but not tonight. Alcides Escobar has scored a couple of runs. Lorenzo Cain, 2 hits, a run scored, an RBI, a stolen base. Royals have turned a couple of walks into runs. A run is scored because of an error. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. And now Mendoza, this was one of your points in the Kia report, that 3rd time through the order, which really dogged Mendoza earlier in the year. He's turned the corner there, but we'll still keep an eye as the Indians are now with their 3rd batter, 3rd time through the order. Kipnis' bat breaks in half. It rolls to first. Hosmer had to run around it to get to the bag, and Getz throws him out. And now Luis Mendoza has retired 11 of the last 12 Indians. And the only man to reach over that stretch was Carlos Santana, who hit a home run in the 4th inning. Now Michael Brantley, who had a big night last night, but so far tonight he's popped out to second and flied out to center field. Off the end of the bat, Escobar leaps and makes the play. And for the 5th time in 6 innings, Luis Mendoza needs fewer than 12 pitches to get through an inning.
Athleticism. Pitch to contact and you'll win. Go ahead.
The sixth inning, our Sonic Slam inning. And our contestant is Denise Comer from Lenexa. And if the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Denise wins $4,200. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Denise wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. And Denise has Mike Moustakas, 16 home runs, Salvador Perez 5, and Eric Hosmer 9 coming up. And Moustakas is 0 for 2 tonight. He has grounded out to second base and flied out to left, and now 0 for his last 18. And that's hit hard to center field. That ball knuckling on Brantley, but he runs it down, and that's frustrating when you're in a slump to hit one right on the nose like that, but right into the defense. So one away, and let's take a look at tonight's Sprint You Call It question for tonight. The best day in the major leagues. Ryan Braun 2 for 3, 3 RBIs for the Brewers. Robinson Cano with a grand slam. He had a grand slam earlier this year at Kauffman Stadium. That's the best thing that's happened here at Kauffman Stadium this year. Miguel Cabrera, 26 home run for the Tigers. Or Jimmy Rollins for the Phillies, who became sellers during the trading deadline. He hit 2 home runs. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals followed by a space, A, B, C, or D. A little tight to Salvador Perez. He was grounded back to the mound and struck out. Royals got 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the fifth. They've scored 5 runs, 4 earned runs against Zach McAllister. He had gone 8 straight starts without allowing more than 3 earned runs. And he's kind of been a bad luck guy for the Indians. He's allowed, and this is just his 11th start, but he has allowed 11 unearned runs. So the Indians haven't played their best defense with him on the mound, but then again, sometimes when a play isn't made, it's the pitcher's job to pick the defense up and not let it turn into a big inning. Santana will watch it land in the third row.
Well, he's making his 11th start, McAllister, and you look at his innings pitched, 6, 7, 5. Let me see. He just had 2 of those 11 where he went less than 6 innings, but the rest of them are all 6, 7 innings. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. Eating some innings up.
Perez is 0 for 3 as Chu makes a play in right field. And the Indians will tell you that he has been the most consistent pitcher for them, even though this is start number 11. But the rotation has been a disappointment for the Indians, with the 3rd highest ERA for a starting rotation in the league. And Zach McAllister is the only starter that has a winning record at 4-2. Hosmer is struck out, and he's flied out to center field. 1-1. And with McAllister over 100 pitches, the Indians are getting ready in the bullpen. There's another big swing by Hosmer, and down 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, you like the fact that he takes a rip, but he's so good to the opposite field, and he's going to become a much better hitter as he learns sometimes less is more, especially when you're down in the count. Your first 2 pitches, you know, if you want to air it out on a certain pitch, go ahead, but by golly, you take a 3rd rip like that, you're going to strike out a lot.
And a fastball at 93 strikes him out. Royals are down in order in the 6th, but they have a 4-run lead against McAllister and the Indians. you by Panera Bread, now with 24 KC Metro locations. Visit us online at PaneraKansas.com. By Thoroughbred Ford, the best deals on new Fords are at thoroughbredford.com. And by AT&T Uverse, the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. And the Royals have scored 13 runs in the first two games of this homestand, winning 8-3 last night, 5-1 as we go into the seventh inning tonight. And the only Indian who has touched home plate is Carlos Santana, who homered last time up. And you know, it baffles the fans sometimes, and even us, but a pitcher will have a bad game and he will say in his post-game comments, I really thought I made some good pitches. And it's easy to say, well, if they were good pitches, then how did you give up 5 or 6 runs? But what they mean is they put the ball in a portion of the strike zone, or sometimes out of the strike zone, which the numbers would suggest is not a hittable pitch. And when Carlos Santana hit his home run in the 4th inning, I thought that was a good example. It was a pitch down and away, and Santana tried to pull it, and I'll bet 8 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10 times, the final result is just a ground ball rolled to the right side, but he was able to hit a good pitcher's pitch for a home run to right field.
Credit the hitters, but you'll never hear too many pitchers say that in their post-game conference. They're not going to say, well, so-and-so. Carlos Santana, he hit a great pitch here on me. He won't even mention the guy's name. But that was an excellent job of lifting that ball that was pitched down low and hit it over the fence.
I mean, if Santana rolls a ground ball to gets, you know, we're going to talk about what a good pitch that was. Good location. Sometimes a hitter does more with a pitch than the pitcher and the catcher anticipated. And now Santana walks. And that's the first given up by Mendoza as he begins the 7th inning. He had retired 12 of 13. And here he is in the 7th. He is at 80 pitches. He had a 25 pitch 3rd inning. And every other inning has been 11 pitches or less. Jose Lopez reached on an error by Moustakas in the 2nd inning, which did not turn into a run. And he flied to left in the 4th. He is the only right-hand batter that Mendoza has seen all night. 1 ball, 1 strike. Vinny Pistano begins warming up in the Indians bullpen. Vinny spent part of his childhood in Kansas City. 2-1. So Pistano warming up, as we like to say, to get some work in. He is typically the Indians' setup man, the closer Chris Perez, but the Indians have lost 4 in a row. They've lost 9 of their last 12, so Pistano hasn't been getting a lot of regular work in his normal role. Ground ball, diving play, Moustakas out at second base. Man, what a double play.
That was a sweet pick by Moustakas. That ball popped up on him, and he snow-coned it and didn't let that phase him at all when it came to the transfer from the glove to the hand. And he whipped it over there to Getz. Getz stayed on top. Boy, that was quick. Look at how it's a little snow cone there. He could feed. Getz stays on top and unloads. Got him by a full step.
Now ball 1 to Johnny Damon, and Moustakas, he made an error against Lopez back in the 2nd inning on a maybe the easiest play he's had all night. And then since then, he's made 2 excellent plays and now gets to the middle. And he'll throw out Johnny Damon, who is 0 for 3 tonight. Luis Mendoza with another inning with fewer than 12 pitches. Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. And welcome to the state capitol and governor's mansion in Jefferson City. The Missouri State Capitol was complete in 1918 and covers 3 acres in downtown Jeff City. The dome rises 238 feet above ground level and is the first view of Jefferson City for travelers arriving from the north. The governor's mansion was constructed in 1871 as the official residence of Missouri's first family. Visitors can tour their home to see its beautiful architecture and period furniture and to learn the history of many of the state's great governors. Well, it's been a tough go at the plate lately for Mike Moustakas. But on defense tonight, he's made 2 outstanding plays and started a double play in the Indians' half of the 7th inning. And now a Chevy call to the bullpen as Vinny Pistano will pitch the bottom of the 7th. And Pistano, one of the game's elite when it comes to the statistic of holds, which is basically the equivalent of a save in the 7th or the 8th inning with a lead. And he leads the American League. He leads the major leagues with 29 holds. So he normally comes on with a lead late in the game, but tonight getting some work after Zach McAllister goes 6 innings and gives up 5 runs. One of the runs was unearned.
Yeah, and you know how when you're in certain roles and you have a lead, there's some adrenaline, a little added adrenaline because of the game situation. Well, anytime that Vinny Pistano gets the ball, it's a Game 7 World Series situation. He goes after it. He's got a lot of passion.
Getz is out, and with Getz walking to the dugout, we'll take a look at tonight's Home Depot doing more on defense. Chris Getz was part of this play.
Oh, and that's doing a lot. They made that look easy. Getz stayed on top, threw a dart. That worked the Kauffman crowd here, and especially helping Mendoza keep his pitch count down and go deep in the game.
Dyson slaps it to left center field, and that's another base hit for him. He has 2 tonight. Checks in with his 8th double of the year. He's 2 for 3, and his only out was a fly ball to the warning track in center field. And now Dyson, in the first 2 games with Cleveland, is 5 out of 7.
And Gerard Dyson, he's continuing to draw Ned Yost the ink out of his pen, put his name on that lineup because he's producing. Look what he's doing. He's not just slapping the ball down the infield, he's driving the ball all of a sudden. He hit a ball that would have been at least a triple earlier in his last at-bat out there, and Brantley ran it down, and now he goes the opposite field gap. So we haven't seen him put on displays like this gap to gap all year. So he's wanting to keep his name in that lineup.
And Alex almost hit on the knee. Dyson has raised his batting average to .263 in this series.
Okay, let's see that swing. Okay, he's coming down through the ball. I like that. So he's trying to stay on top of the ball. I can tell by the way he took that path to it, and he got the backspin. When you have that type of chop and wood angled with your bat, you're going to generate backspin. It's going to carry over the outfielder's head, and it did.
Pretty good heat from Pistano. 1-1 on Alex. He has a double tonight as major league leading 37th, and he's driven in a run. Royals scored 2 in the first. They added 2 more in the second for a 4-0 lead very early in the game. The Indians scored their run in the fourth. The Royals answered with a run in the fifth, and now Dyson at second base with 1 out in the seventh.
Sees Pistano with that 3/4 sidearm delivery, fastball, a little slider out of there. Lefties sometimes will give up on that pitch when it starts outside, but ends up coming in.
Two and two. Told the story before, but Vinny Pistano spent part of his childhood in Kansas City. His mother is from Kansas City, Missouri. His grandfather, Ken Webster, was the athletics director at UMKC for several years, and his uncle, Dave Webster, is a tour guide here at the ballpark. If you ever had a tour of the Royals Hall of Fame, and Uncle Dave is known as Casey, wearing the old-time uniform, taking the fans for a tour around the ballpark and through the Hall of Fame.
I've seen him walking around the yard. He's got his glove and everything.
Did Alex go around? Well, just in case, he's going to run, and Santana throws him out with a good play. Now the question is, did he swing?
Well, I could tell home plate umpire Mike Everett, he rung him up right away, so Gordon knew. He said that he couldn't check his swing, and he offered. And Santana, he had a long way to go to get back to the backstop and throw him out, so that's a nice play by him.
So a strikeout and a wild pitch that gets Dyson over to third. And it brings up Alcides Escobar. He has scored 2 runs tonight. Also has a stolen base. Takes a strike from Pistano. Escobar and the Royals 8-3 win last night. He drove in 3 runs and has an RBI in 3 straight games, trying to extend that here tonight. And the same pitch that struck out Gordon, that hard slider, it's down and away to Escobar, and no balls, 2 strikes. With 1 out, Dyson doubled. Went to third on the wild pitch. Still 0-2.
Escobar had a rip. He looked like he wanted to do more than Just hit a lousy single. He wanted to hit that one out of the yard. So now with 2 strikes, see if he goes to a shorter swing. Big hole up the middle too, by the way. They're playing him hard to pull on the infield and hard on the opposite field, leaving a couple nice lanes there right by the pitcher. And hitting coaches will tell you that's the biggest hole in the diamond.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
So see, Pistano got ahead 0-2. Now he was throwing a couple waste pitches to try to get Escobar to swing at him out of the strike zone.
And even with that wicked slider, which he throws in the dirt often, he only has 1 wild pitch.
But see how he shortened up his swing there and just was going to take it out to right field, just flick it out there. And it's one of the reasons why he's a 300 hitter this year. He knows his ability.
Didn't get the call. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Shin-Soo Choo in right field. And that's the inning. The Royals leave Dyson at third at the end of 7. Royals lead 5-1.
At Kauffman Stadium, Panera takes us around the league. Granderson 29th on the year. Cano with the grand slam. New York all over Baltimore. Chicago, Jake Peavy outdueling Scott Diamond. Tampa Bay defeats Oakland 4-1. Detroit getting home runs from Cabrera and Fielder as they bounce around Aaron Cook and Boston. Albert Pujols goes deep again, and Yu Darvish, guys, 5 innings, 7 runs, and 6 walks. The Rangers and that pitching staff seem to be in trouble. Hey, Hud, one more thing. I just got a tweet in. A fan wanting to know if in your time in Montreal you learned any French, and if so, if you could give us a little sample.
Ooh. Oui, oui.
There you go. Give some French to Lefevre. Or is it well, anyway.
Yeah, you know, it's been a while. I've forgotten a lot of it, though, but I'm going to tell you, it was a great place to be.
Great
city.
loved it.
Loved it.
How do you say great place to be in French?
Can't tell you. You know, it's like any other language. You learn all the bad words first, and I can't say those. Ball players, you know, it's the first ones you hear. So I'm limited.
You got a little English, Spanish, French, and Japanese?
Yes.
Oui, oui.
Si, senor.
0-1 on Jack Hanahan. Let's update our Sprint You Call It question for today. The best day in the major leagues today. Jimmy Rollins with 2 home runs for the Philadelphia Phillies. That's a big game for Philly as they are trying to get back to 10 games below 500. I think producer Joe Lavero had anything to do with that?
I was wondering if all of the Lavero family was voting. I know that Joe's parents are watching and voting early and often. It's a Lavero-driven vote.
1-2 on Hanahan. Three strikeouts, 1 walk so far for Mendoza. And he has been using his defense all night. 91 pitches with 1 out in the 8th inning. Perez with that low target, and it's down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I asked Salvador Perez if it gets this hot in Venezuela, and he said no. He says it's about 80. It's high 80s there. I said, does it bother you here? Absolutely not. I'm in a big league lineup with a big league uniform on. I'm thrilled. I play the same way no matter what temperature it is. Very excitable guy. Passion. Energy. Good things to say about a ball player who brings his lunch pail to work every day and works hard, especially at his job.
And it's retro night coming up. He'll get a new lunch pail if he wants one.
He will. His mom might want it. She's a big fan of his and hangs out. He says she comes to every game.
Hanahan belts it to right center field. And that'll land on the warning track. And Jack Hanahan is into second base with his second double. The Indians have only 4 hits against Mendoza. Chu singled to open the game. Hanahan doubled in the 3rd. Santana homered in the 4th. And now another double for Hanahan in the 8th. And Ned Yost says that's enough.
What's wrong with that?
Royals got a good pitching performance last night from Luke Hochevar as he allowed 3 runs in 6 innings. And now tonight, Luis Mendoza takes the game into the 8th. The fans appreciate that as he walks off the mound with the Royals in front by 4.
His teammates loved it too, all patting him on the back. Great job.
Chevy called to the bullpen. which means it's time to help underprivileged kids in the Kansas City area. And on Thursday and Friday, Royals Charities will be hosting a back-to-school drive here at Kauffman Stadium. And you're encouraged to donate school supplies, backpacks, and cash. And the drive occurs from 6 to 8:30 p.m. outside of the Diamond Club and the Majestic Team Store. That's in the concourse right behind home plate. Again, that's Thursday and Friday from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Go to Royals.com/community for more information. Shin-Soo Choo, well, he got locked up. First thinking about swinging, then trying to get out of the way. The ball hit him, but the Royals are going to argue that it hit him in the middle of a swing. And if a batter swings, it doesn't matter whether the ball hits him or not, or maybe the Royals are arguing that it never hit him in the first place.
Well, replay will show us. Okay, Salvi's setting up on the outer half. Maharis likes to come in and set hitters up.
It never hit him.
Didn't look like it did to me.
Well, maybe from that angle, maybe like it may have grazed his knuckles, but that first angle, it sounded like it hit something.
It'll tick you too there.
Yeah, and on plays like that, the umpire doesn't see it hit the batter. They listen to what we just heard. There's a sound before the ball hits the glove.
Well, can we play the sound again? You could hear a little bit before it got to Salvi's glove. Yep. Split second before it hit Salvi's glove.
Let's go down to Joel.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. The one thing that I noticed that was sort of interesting on it, regardless of the sound, was that Shin-Soo Choo, after being awarded the bag, just kind of stood around home plate, and it was the on-deck hitter and a couple of guys from the dugout that kept pointing for him, go, 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 and he kept staying, and eventually he went, so I don't think in his mind he thought he was hit.
That's up the left field line, and Cabrera will drive in Jack Hanahan. It's a 5-2 game, and now the tying run comes to the plate, and we're getting into the middle of the Indians' order. You know, what might have happened, too, is that Choo didn't see home plate umpire Mike Everett telling him to go to first base, but the dugout did. Well, the Royals haven't been perfect on defense in this series with the Indians, but they've been very good. And let's take a look at our AT&T Uverse reverse replays.
Oh, man, that was last night. What a catch. Gets Escobar tonight. Hosmer's smooth glove. And this double play here was really nice. No wonder you want to pitch to contact with that defense behind you. That's great.
And now Maharis and Kipnis. And we've been telling you about all the left-handed bats in the Cleveland order, which works out well when they're facing Luke Hochevar or Luis Mendoza, a right-hander, but it's tailor-made for somebody like Jose Maharis. But he has hit the first left-hand batter, Shin-Soo Choo. As Drupal Cabrera, he can move over to the right side, and he's singled in a run, and now two more left-hand hitters coming up in Kipnis and Brantley. And after that, a switch hitter, Carlos Santana. To the right side, and Getz will take the sure out. He'll get Kipnis as Choo moves up to third base, and Cabrera goes to second, and Kipnis is 0 for 4. Well, we haven't taken a look at our trivia question yet for tonight, presented by AT&T. Who are the 4 Royals to lead the American League in doubles? Michael Brantley with 2 runners in scoring position. He's 0 for 3, and a nice save by Perez to save a run. How about Hal McRae?
Willie Wilson.
Billy Butler.
Johnny Damon.
That's right. We always got to think in the house. Johnny led the league in runs scored one year with the Royals, and that year set a team record 136 runs scored in 2000. His final year with the Royals.
On Kevin Seitzer.
Into left field. The Indians get a run, but that's it. So the Royals will have at least a 3-run lead going into the 9th, but they'll try and add on as they come up in the bottom of the 8th. Promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Lorenzo Cain, since he's been activated from the DL, has hit .302, 6 multi-hit games, 15 RBIs. He's getting his legs underneath him. He's starting to play the game. Like to see him going first to third tonight, stealing a bag last night. All good signs for this young man who unfortunately missed a good part of the season early, getting over a couple bad injuries he had, but he's back and he's swinging that bat.
Well, it's only appropriate on social media night that Chris Perez pitches for the Indians. Last time the Indians were here, Chris Perez got into trouble with the league and decided to tweet in reference to that bench clearing incident where Shin-Soo Choo was hit, and then Mike Moustakas was hit. The bench is cleared, and he tweeted, "You hit us, we hit you, period." And then the league hit him with a fine for a reckless tweet, which I believe is a major league first.
Reckless tweeting? They are encouraged to tweet. That's not the issue. The issue is you're not supposed to say things about the other team. The Royals were none too thrilled about it. And what's interesting is this. Billy Butler is now coming up to the plate. By the way, I didn't see Chris Perez doing that little thing with his hand there after the strikeout in the 5-2 loss. But anyway, Billy Butler is coming to the plate, and the guys were kind of giving him a hard time before the All-Star game. What if your locker is next to Chris Perez's? And you know, Billy wasn't going to hang out and socialize a whole lot with Chris Perez. There's no love lost there on the Royals side. Well, Billy during the home run derby looks over, and there's his 3-year-old daughter Kenley sitting on the field in her Butler jersey on a Gatorade cooler next to Chris Perez's daughter. And they're sitting there playing with each other. And there is the Perez kid and the Butler kid with pictures to go with it.
And Billy into right field. Shin Soo Choo runs it down. Billy had very good numbers against Chris Perez. 2 down in the 8th. Well, not just the tweet, but then it was this. Whatever that means. He needs new windshield wipers after the game or something like that.
What was that move?
Yeah, that's a you can't see me when he waved his hand over his face. That's after the wrestler that does that, the WWE or something.
Well, that's great.
I agree.
0-2 on Mike Moustakas.
You think he'll celebrate if he retires beside 1, 2, 3 here?
I would hope not, with his team down by 3.
You guys sense that Chris Perez's antics really bothered, well, we know it, the Royals, yet Jose Valverde's don't quite as much. And it seems like Valverde, who has plenty of antics out there, is sort of in his own world, not necessarily taunting. I think that's the way it's perceived by the guys.
Right.
As strange and quirky as it is, and it may bug a lot of people, fans, and understandably so.
Brantley takes care of Mike Moustakas, so Perez pitches a scoreless bottom of the 8th, and now Greg Holland will get his first save opportunity since the trade of Jonathan Broxton.
Indians, Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery getting ready for Boulevard Royals Live once again. Early offense, good base running, defense, and starting pitching. We'll talk about all of that, reaction, and get you ready for the series finale between the Royals and Indians coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Ryan?
Thank you, Joel. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. The 4 Royals who ever lead the American League in doubles. How about Hal McRae? Billy Butler had 51 a few years ago. Maybe Mike Sweeney.
I said Willie Wilson.
Willie Wilson. George Brett twice. Hal McRae twice. Amos Otis twice. And Lou Piniella. So Greg Holland, who has 4 saves, and all 4 of those coming last year. His first major league save was against the Orioles on August 3rd, and then he had 3 more before the season wrapped up. So almost a year to the day of his first major league save. He now takes him out as the Royals closer. Named closer yesterday when Jonathan Broxton was traded to the Reds, and we found out that Broxton, in his first appearance with Cincinnati tonight, had a 3-up, 3-down 8th inning, setting up for Aroldis Chapman. So there are no easy saves, but Holland's first opportunity, at least this year, comes with a 3-run lead with Santana, Lopez, and Damon scheduled to hit. Good start. Ground ball to Hosmer. He'll take it to the bag himself, 1 away. Don't forget, if you're out of town, you can take the Royals with you. Just subscribe to MLB.tv, and you'll see every Royals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Royals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Royals are 2 outs away from winning back-to-back games for the first time in over a month. And the last time they accomplished that was June 27th, beating Tampa Bay, then an off day, and June 29th in Minnesota. And the winning pitcher that night was Luis Mendoza. He was 2 outs away from winning his 5th of the year with an excellent outing tonight. 7 1/3 innings, only 4 hits allowed, 2 earned runs. Maharis got the final 2 outs of the 8th, and now Holland in the 9th.
Good mid-90s fastball, slider, and a split finger. He's got a curve, but he doesn't use it that often. So you'll see a 3-pitch repertoire from the Royals' new closer.
3-1. Kane makes the play in right field, 2 down. With the way the game is today, with in-stadium entertainment, it was just a little odd for a save situation in the 9th, and Greg Holland just jogged in. There were no flames on the scoreboard. There was no loud music. He just casually jogged in from the left field bullpen, and now the fans will stand with 2 down in the 9th inning. Royals trying to improve to 2-0 on this homestand. And a strike to Johnny Damon. The Royals have scored 13 runs in the first 2 games with Cleveland, and 12 of the 13 have come in the first 3 innings. Giving Luke Hochevar some breathing room last night, and the same for Luis Mendoza tonight. Damon is down in the count, 0-2. $17,043 paid tonight. Damon into the right field corner. That is a foul ball.
Looked like a split finger he threw in.
Johnny is grounded to third, and that was a fine play by Moustakas in the second. He's flied to left and grounded to second base. 1 for 7 in the series. Still 0-2. With all the left-hand bats, the Royals changed their pitching plans. Jeremy Guthrie, who came up through the Indian system, was scheduled to start tomorrow, but now he's been moved back a day, and Bruce Chen will start against the Indians. Corey Kluber, a right-hander, will be making his big league debut pitching for Cleveland. 1-2. out in front of the plate. That's a fair ball, and Perez throws out Damon. So Holland gets the job done, knocking down the Indians in order in the 9th. And when the Royals take the field tomorrow night, they'll be going for a 3-game sweep over the Indians.
Ooh, man, and I'm going to tell you, it's the offense and Mendoza tonight, but that would be really a nice thing. And the fact that they got the series tonight, the first 2 games, that's the first series in over a month they've been able to get. So back on track home here at the K, where they haven't had a lot of success, but man, they sure have looked good the last 2 nights.
Yeah, Hud, that was June 25th, 26th, and 27th when they swept the Tampa Bay Rays here. Then they went into Minnesota. They took game 1 there. They were 4 games below 500, and that's when the slide began. But the Royals have picked up the pieces, at least the last 2 games. Beating the Indians last night 8-3 and 5-2 tonight. So Luis Mendoza, with some run support, wins his 5th of the year. And Greg Holland picks up his first save of the season. Also a big night on offense for Lorenzo Cain. 2 more hits, an RBI, a run scored, and a stolen base. And he and Greg Holland are standing by with Joel.
Ryan, thanks. Let's first off start with Lorenzo Cain, and again another big night for the offense and able to put up some runs early. Just talk about that and the way the running game was able to get involved throughout the night.
We definitely got off to a great start tonight. Like I say, we put together some good at-bats. Was able to get the guys in when they were in scoring position. So definitely a positive. Running game was great, so just got to keep it going.
For you personally, we know that you've been swinging a hot stick, but when you're able to steal bases, run around the bases like that, what does that mean as far as your legs and where they're at?
Oh, definitely a plus. I feel like my legs are getting better each and every day. So, like I said, just trying to take care of them and do the best I can to stay on the field. So, hopefully, just keep it going.
All right, before we get you out of here and get to the closer, let me ask you about Luis Mendoza and what you saw from him tonight.
Once again, lights out. Very dominant on the mound tonight. Like I say, he kept Cleveland hitters off balance. So that's all you can ask for. So try to put up a few runs for him and leave it at that.
All right, Lorenzo, great job. Greg, come on in here, and first save of the season. I know fans were excited to see you get out there. What about for you? You've pitched in some big situations, but now as the closer, did anything feel different to you going out there in the 9th?
No, I was amped up, but you try to take it as another inning, whether it's the 7th, 8th, or 9th. So that's kind of the mindset I tried to take into the game, and was able to get ahead and get some ground outs.
For you, you've been in those situations like I mentioned before. When you go out there, is there anything you learned from, say, a Broxton or a Soria having pitched around those guys?
Yeah, they keep the same mindset no matter how bad things are going or how good they're going. So if you can just keep your composure and keep executing the next pitch, you're going to be successful.
Is it amazing to you that here you are walking out to the mound as a big league closer, as a guy that's had to fight hard to get to this point and come through the system?
I don't know if I'd say amazing, but I like it. It's unfortunate that Soria went down, but we've been able to battle in the bullpen and win some games, and I'm excited.
We were looking for some loud music or some fire. Nothing, huh?
No, I haven't earned that yet.
Great job tonight.
Thank you.
That is Greg Holland as he was lights out in this one. Ryan, Rex, let's go back upstairs to you.
All right, thank you, Joel. The Royals celebrate in the outfield as they've taken the first 2 from the Indians.